I can see my validators deposited, but I can't see if it's working. So it sounds like your validator state is in pending. If you made the deposit, it should go to pending, but you can't see if it's working. So if it still says pending, it means it's not active yet. And if you refresh, I think I have, yeah, I talked about that too. Yeah, here we go. This FAQ is for you right here. So there's the other debugging section of stuff you can go through as well. Let's see, it's up here. Yeah. So if you want to see if it's working locally, you can do this. If you set up the monitoring stuff, maybe that'll help as well with Grafana. But you can see if it's working locally there. But if you want to check your validator on the network to see what the network thinks is going on, as far as just like status wise, then you can just use this URL as an example. So this is just one of the validators on the network, just randomly picked it. And you can see it's active. So deposited, after it's deposited, it will go to pending. It could sit in pending for 16, 18, 24 hours, and then it becomes active once everything goes good. If it's online, if everything is working properly. Exited is just, validate misbehaves or choose to leave the network. So I haven't been in exited status before. There could also be another status. What is it, like some kind of red? It's like problem or inactive. Maybe it's inactive, we'll say. And that would mean something's wrong. Your clients aren't working or you're not synced yet. That's what I'm saying. Sync the clients before you make the deposit. So otherwise, you may get slashed until your client is actually working after blockchain is synced. If that makes sense. Real quick. So you can check that out and see. But to your question of, again, this is not my validator. This is just one I'm using as an example. If it's working, it'll be active. That's how you know it's working. It's participating and attesting and proposing blocks and all that good stuff. So that's how you know that. If you have a follow-up question, let me know. Why don't you get a custom punk design like graphics or most text influencers? What is a punk? Custom punk? Is that a form of clothing I'm not aware of? Custom punk? Yeah, let me know what that means. I'm making a t-shirt. I'm in the process of making a new, I had one run at making t-shirts and I don't like the material. So I'm trying it again with a different outfit and see what it looks like. So scrolling down. Super shout out to Juyong the Hexagon, by the way, runs hsiwatch.com and potentially other products and other services. So in the future, future's bright for this gentleman and all the cool stuff the community is making. So Lily Lack, since V4 was released, what is the current expected APR for running a validator? Was it originally 3%, significantly higher? It's a good question. I think the ideal now, I'm just speculating because we don't have all the information, because there's no like wiki you can find all this official information, because it's kind of just like what people talk about, what they understand right now, who's talking to devs, have the devs decided on all this stuff. So it's hard to speak in like official terms. So I'm just speculating. I believe before it was a fraction of that at full capacity. So I guess the easy way to understand it is like maybe before at best you would get 3 or 4%. And now with V4 at best, you'll get 30 to 40%. However, a lot of that goes down. I believe I saw it recently. It's already at 20%. And I don't think we have very much over 4K validators that are going burr. So it is significantly higher than V3. I don't know what the exact numbers are yet, though. I've not confirmed the exact numbers, but I think the idea was to take it from a fraction of a percent to some significant percent number. I'll say that. Don't know what those numbers are, but I think that's an okay way of explaining it so you get the idea. Fee, is the validator interface flawless or things still needing to get fixed, added? Not sure what validator interface is. I guess you would be talking about the clients, how they're working and all that. All the clients are working. I mean, people got validators up and running now. I'm sure there's still, if on the PulseDev Telegram channel, I'm sure there's still a few things on the list of things to get fixed, but I haven't seen anything major. They're all just, hey, this is testnet. It's for testing. We're finding these little things here and there. I assume there's still a list of some minor things that we'll come across, but nothing. Validators are working, and if I'm able to write a script, if me and other people are able to write scripts to automate this stuff and it works, then it's definitely working good enough as far as that goes. My body needs more than one cup of coffee, then I'm ready. Hope you've got caffeinated in the last half hour. Graphics. Yeah, we definitely, this will be one of the most technical streams as far as code and validating stuff goes. What's up, Archie? Welcome. Hexformer, welcome as well. Yeah, again, go to the Pulse Dev. If you some people don't do Telegram, whatever, it's cool. But if you do, and you're interested in chatting about validator stuff, Pulse Dev is one of the places to be. Builds a full stack web app API server without breaking sweat. I know, man. Like, there's different technologies. I've luckily been exposed to so many different ones. Working in tech for so long. I guess you could say I've mastered Windows, Mac, Linux, all different versions of and everything in between, different software running on them, containers. Like, I know about all that stuff. So it's funny. Like, I still come across actually that's a great point. Like, when I started learning about validators in January, I was doing Ethereum stuff. I was trying to figure that out in preparation. I didn't know how this stuff worked. Like, it really takes a lot of time and mental energy and understanding to figure out this stuff. And that's how I got from, like, what is a client? What does a client even mean? I got from that to I'm automating scripts. I'm helping people, set up validators with automated scripts. But that took me a good while. It took me at least, I'd say, a couple months before I felt like I had a pretty confident understanding I could help people, other people with it. Was there ever confirmation, David Feeder, this video made on the hardware needed for validator works? I'm not sure. Are you saying he had a video talking about hardware and wondering if that hardware was the right configuration to do? I'm not sure. I mean, I don't think much has changed as far as, I would say, minimum 32, 64 gigs of RAM. You need at least 2 terabyte disk space. And, pretty good CPU or virtual CPUs if you're using cloud. Besides that, you just need to stay online and get it set up correctly. That's the biggest thing. What's up, Steve D? Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Hope to see you at a meetup sometime too. It's been a while. Godfather J6, how are you, sir? Good to see you. When Mainnet. Watch my stream with Corey yesterday. I'm bullish on mid-May. I try not to talk about it. It's been a long time since I had any confidence that we were actually close to launching. But recent developments have made me bullish. Could be wrong. Nobody knows, but it's looking good. Let's see. Can I use a VPS instead of having hard? Yeah. So VPS, pretty much analogous to the cloud data center. VPS, it's just a data center somewhere. A cloud is like a collection of data centers. Think about it like that. So the regions, each data center is a region, kind of. So yeah, you definitely can. And I have all the docs on how to do that. Yeah, let's see. This doc right here will tell you exactly how to get your hardware set up on AWS. I'll drop it in the chat. I did so many of these PulseChain DevSplain and validator AMAs. Like I'm compounding on the knowledge. I'm compounding on the docs I've already shared. It's pretty cool, actually. Like it makes my job a lot easier. Not having to think of all this stuff at once and write it all. Oh, I've already wrote down the process. So it's like the Naval quote: "There is no later. There's only now." So don't use that to stress yourself out. But if you say, "Oh, I'll do that later," what if you did it now? What if you did it right now? And then thank yourself. Your future self will thank you. You know. Got my Hope Cup out. Special edition Hope Cup. Julian, can I set up this? Can this setup run multiple validators? Great question. Yes. So the script, if you notice, the script doesn't ask you how many validators you want to set up. It just asked you your fee address and your IP address. So how you determine how many validators you want to set up is with the deposit client. So when you run the deposit client, when you run the deposit client, it'll ask you how many validators you want to set up and how many keys to generate, all that stuff. So that's all the deposit client side. And then once you upload it, or once you import them into Lighthouse, then Lighthouse is like, cool, you want to be one validator. Cool, you gave me 5. Cool, you gave me 10, give me 100, whatever it is. And then once you get a Launchpad, it'll ask you how many you're doing. You do that. You upload your deposit file, JSON deposit file, and then you do a transaction for each validator. So if you have 5, you do 5 transactions, 10, and so on. Great question. What's up, Francis? I love Jesus. Welcome, welcome. How do you run multiple on one machine? Yeah, it's a little counterintuitive, isn't it? So just like I said on how to generate all those with your deposit client, think about it like this. Think about the only real barrier for you running multiple validators on one machine is, do you have enough PLS or TPLS to deposit into the contract? Do you have enough? Do you have 32 million times X? X equals 5, X equals 10, 100. That's like the number one barrier. Do you have enough to actually run those validators? If you do, I haven't tested 100 validators, but if I were going to run 100 validators, I would probably beef up my specs a little bit, because that could be more processes running, more memory usage. It could lead to stuff like that. I'm not sure exactly how it grows, if it grows exponentially, if it grows linearly. I'm not sure because I haven't ran that many validators. So if I were going to run if I was going to run at least maybe 50 validators, I would probably do a larger instance, a beefier hardware. If I were going to run 5, 10, 15, 20, I think that'd be fine with kind of like the minimum specs. Again, 34, 64 gigs of RAM, 2 terabyte hard drive, and a pretty good CPU. So just think about it like that. First of all, do you have the PLS to run that many? And if you're just going to run up to 10, I wouldn't worry about your specs. It should run fine. What does it mean to get slashed? Another great question. So when you misbehave in some way, if you're offline, that could be your blockchain's not synced, or it could be a power loss, whatever. If something happens where you're not reliable on the network, they could take PLS. You stop earning fees. They could take some from your balance. I haven't actually got slashed before, but I'm trying to think of all the different ways it can happen. But essentially, you could start losing some of your principal. You can lose some of your principal, and kind of you have to like build that back up. Yeah, I think if it drops below a certain level, you need to re-up. Maybe, I'm not sure actually. It's a good question. Don't get slashed. How about that? I'm sure there'll be some explainer video on that too, but I believe it can come at your principal. I think I saw when I was getting slashed before, that happened, and you can't drop below a certain amount, but I mean, you got, if it's 32 million pulse, the amount you have to drop below, you have to get slashed for a long time, I suspect, before that becomes a real problem. So when you would go to withdrawal, then I guess you would only withdraw whatever you put in there minus the slashing, I suspect. The chat of Donner Schwantz. Best avatar in the business. What's happening, man? Welcome, welcome. Another great question from Lily Lyak. Geth, Lighthouse, Aragon, and Prism. Do we need to set up validator for all of these? What is the benefit of running a validator for each one? I don't understand. Yeah, good question. So you need to pick two. You have two different execution clients available. You have Geth and Aragon. Geth is GoPulse on the PulseChain side. I think we should call it GPLS, but it looks like it's going to happen. It looks like it's going to be Geth. So, and then you have two consensus clients. You have Lighthouse and Prism. Those are the four clients that PulseChain devs have forked and made work for PulseChain. So you don't need to run all four. You just need to run a pair of those. So you could run Geth Lighthouse, like what my script does. You could run Geth Prism, like I think other people's script does. You could run Aragon Lighthouse, stuff like that. So you just need to pair a execution client with a consensus client, which has your beacon and your validator programs. And those are things you need to run on a validator. Just think about a validator as a server. Your validator is a server. There's a little bit of naming difference because there's also a validator client within Lighthouse, and there's a beacon client too. So just think about it like this. Your validator is a server, and in that server, you have clients. And for this script, for example, you have Geth and Lighthouse. So you run Geth as your execution client on your validator server, and you run Lighthouse, beacon, and validator client on your validator server. So you just need to pick two clients, run those, and that will enable you to participate on the network with your validator server. That's why I say validator server a lot, because your validator is your server unless you're talking about a specific part of the consensus client, which we're usually not talking about because it's not that important to bring up. Make sense? If not, let me know. But I think that's a good way to explain it. Dat FOMO. What makes sense if running more than 100 validators? AWS versus hardware. Good question. For me, AWS just makes everything so easy. I built plenty of servers. I've started servers. I built plenty of computers, at least I'll say. What is a server? It's a special, some servers, you could run anything as a server, technically, as server software, but there's some builds of computers that have hardware specifically built to be good at being a server. So there's that. If you have 100 validators, like I said, I would err on the side of a more beefy machine. So maybe 64 gigs of RAM instead of 32, stuff like that. However, in AWS, if you want to do 100 validators, that's as simple as, instead of doing a M2 2x large, maybe you do an M2 4x large, which I believe is a 64 gigabyte configuration. So I'll just scroll up to, So this is the one that's 32. This is kind of like the minimum. And so why would you run the minimum, by the way? I usually don't like to run the minimum of this stuff. Like if I'm going to do something, I'd rather not deal with stuff not working later because I skimped out on hardware. However, again, AWS cloud makes this very easy. If you do this and it doesn't work, well, then you just tear it down and you just do a 4x large instead of a 2x large. And that just gives you, I think it's more vCPUs. It gives you more memory. So why would you do the minimum 2? Because you pay more for the higher specs. I don't know exactly the price difference between running a 2x large and 4x large, but I'm pretty sure I would estimate it's probably at least 25% higher. So if you're paying let's see, I don't have any concrete numbers. I'm just thinking of like what my bills have looked like so far. You can expect to pay by running this maybe $400 per month or so, 400, 300, 400, 500, somewhere through there, running a validator with this configuration. But if you ran one with a 4x large, that could be $500, $600, $700, that kind of thing. So that's why you kind of want the minimum that it'll do. But for 100 validators, yeah, I think if I was doing 100 validators, I may do a 4x large just in case, because I have a feeling that's going to be, it's going to take, but I haven't tested it. So that's why I don't have any concrete answers for you on that. Bobby Hexelrod, what's happening, man? Has anyone guesstimated the ROI timeline for each validator? Well, it's more than it used to be. I'll say that. V4 has been bullish for validators for sure. So ROI it sounds like what you're saying is how much before it pays off your validator. I think a lot of things depend on that. I think there's the price appreciation for earning PLS, for example. And it depends on, are you paying monthly? Are you using the cloud and you're paying monthly? Or, you're paying, let's say $400 a month. Or are you building your own hardware? Maybe it's $2,000 up front and you pay for electricity. So I don't know how much that would be wherever you live. Maybe $50, could be $100, whatever, for having a computer server on 24/7. So you got to factor that in. It's hard to say. I think we're definitely made huge strides toward being profitable. Before with V3, I was like, I don't care. I want to help the community do this. I don't care if it's profitable or not. I want to be, have utility. I want to, help secure the network, all that stuff. So it really didn't matter to me as much. But when V4 happened, I was like, whoa, I think, people actually have a chance to make money being a validator. So hard to say how much it would take to pay off. Again, what if PLS goes down for a while? What if then it goes up for a while? I would say if you think PulseChain is going to do well over the next 2 years and you plan on being a validator over the next 2 years, I wouldn't worry so much about the ROI. Price appreciation is probably going to, if you believe it's going to do well, logically, the price appreciation would make up for your upfront costs or monthly bills and stuff. Not financial advice. I'm just saying, if you think it's going to do well, you could consider that. Let's see, Dixon Cider. Bro, why want to be able to long hex on the raise to mainnet? Also want to short it after, like buy the rumor, sell the news. Fiat won't be allowed to. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, not everything is going to launch at once. I think people are going to be wanting to use liquid loans, Power City and stuff to mint stables. When are they going to launch? Could be weeks afterwards. I certainly hope they launch as quickly as possible because they're definitely products that I like, and I know a lot of people in the ecosystem want to use. And hashtag never selling, right? It's pure, obvious utility in the community. So hopefully they'll be, hopefully the products that we all want to use, fiat and otherwise, will be available shortly after launch. Do you think a validator dashboard will be released in the future? I mean, we kind of have one. I don't know if you define validator dashboard as far as, are you talking about for each validator having monitoring and metrics? Because a lot of people are doing that with Grafana and Prometheus. Are you talking about a dashboard like this where you can look at validators, see active ones? What is there? Isn't there a leaderboard? Validator leaderboard? Yeah, I think and there's deposit leaderboard where you can see. Whoa, is that 300? Somebody doing, it looks like 100. It's a lot of validators. Yeah. I saw that. Somebody did 100 validators recently. That's cool. And there's more. And then 62, 20, 10, 10, 10. Yeah, so you see people doing different different kinds of different number of validators here. So yeah, I'm not sure what kind of validator, like you're looking for, what kind of information will be on the dashboard UFO, but we have some resources right now. Of course, man. Excellent people doing excellent work. They get shout outs. Do you think PulseChain will come out anytime? Like anytime like today, or anytime like it could be anytime? Like I said, type in RHMax Corey Costa or RHMax Power City IO. I talked to Matt a couple days ago too, from Power City, formerly from Liquid Loans, but Power City, and talked about it. And in the stream earlier, I said bullish on mid-May. So there's that. Let's see. I'm trying to catch up, everyone. Trying to catch up. But, oh, we're already at an hour. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to probably wrap up the next 15 minutes. So get your questions in. It's really fun, though. I had a good time. Hope you all had a good time, too. It's good to be able to kind of walk through your thoughts and, of course, help you all with it, too. It's cool. What's up, Crypto Truth? Good day, my friend. Good day to you, Mumbles. Good day. What's up, Franklin? What's Gucci? Yeah. What's Gucci? What's Prada? I was thinking about some luxury brands today. There's all kinds of crazy ones that have less pronounceable names. Franklin, set Graphonic. That's a great question. I messed around a little bit. I was actually figuring out, I was like, oh, can I write a script to automate this? But there's a lot of stuff that needs manual and it's kind of hard to automate. So I kind of just left it for now because it's not really a priority to work on it, because it's optional. It's nice to have monitoring and see graphs and charts and stuff. However, this is pretty cool too. And there's some pretty, like, you can look at your own validator and look at this stuff too. However, there are some good guides. This is the best guide I've seen I've came across for setting it up. So yeah, just check the repo out on. I'll drop the link here, and I put some nuance to it, some little tricks and stuff if you want to check that out. But I haven't set it up on mine, and I've kind of deprioritized it for now, just because it's optional, but it's nice to have. Like, what a price difference between cloud? I think I just covered this. Yeah, I think I just covered it. But essentially, you could say maybe it's $400 or $500 a month for running it in the cloud. No initial upfront cost, just monthly cost because you're renting a server and you have your own hardware. Maybe it's a 2K, 1, 2, 3K, however you get your hardware, beefy setup, all that stuff. And then you pay electricity bills, maybe $50, $100 a month. So you kind of got to, weigh those two. Advantages, disadvantages. I like the cloud because it's just easy to spin stuff up, tear it down. I can, I don't have to download the ISO images, install my own stuff. I just say, hey, I want this thing. It gives it to me. Don't have to worry about the uptime. Don't have to worry about utility bills. So there's advantages there. But like I said before, I certainly hope not everyone uses the cloud, because I do like having, it'd be nice if we had thousands of servers that were not using the cloud and thousands of servers that were. So if imaginary horrible, Amazon's like, screw crypto, turn off all the stuff, then at least we have plenty of validators to make sure we're good. They're not running there, Let's see. Just Toddle. Welcome to the party. Welcome to the party. Franklin says, does network settings matter on your machine if you need to suddenly move? Okay. So if your IP address changes, so that's one thing you need to pay attention to, is if your IP address changes, then you should update the script and stuff on your computer. But if you're offline, assume you're going to get slashed a little bit. But if your IP address changes, if you need to move somewhere, your IP address changes, just make sure you update your validator so that your Lighthouse, for example, knows about that. But if you get slashed, if you got 20 million or 32 million PLS and you get slashed 5 PLS, it doesn't matter, that sort of thing. So just make sure you keep your validator up to date with IP address. If it needs to be down for a day or two, I wouldn't think it's a big deal, but we haven't tested any of this stuff yet, so it's hard to see what it's going to look like on mainnet. So yeah, hopefully, let me know if that answered your question. Intense Taekwondo. I like that name. Is there a guide to run the code in a terminal using Windows? Not my guide. And I'm trying to think. I don't think I've seen any Windows or Mac guides, because I really recommend people just use Linux. I love Mac, and I don't really like Windows, but I love Mac, for example. But I would not use Mac as a server. I wouldn't use Windows as a server either. Linux is the server OS. It is. You could run it as desktop too, but it is the de facto server in my mind, my preferences and stuff. And everything is easier as long as you know how to use Linux, everything is easier. So I would recommend people do that. When they ran the issue. Yeah, I covered a little bit of like how to clone the repo and how to change the mode, Gmod, change the mode to executional and stuff like that in the beginning of the stream. Let's see. Dix Insider, how do you like my idea of Richard making a wallet sack to accept only incentive token? I've heard about that. I've heard that idea floating around. But he's already said incentive token is his least favorite and least what he's going to spend time on. That's the only caveat. I would be like, he doesn't. It's not like we've saw Richard like, and incentive token. It's my baby that no one's that we're not. It's not like he's talked about it in this slide of he really wants to make it into an amazing coin. I think it'll be amazing anyways, just because it's paired with everything else and it's a Richard Hart product. But that would be interesting. So if you think that, if you're able to do LP, you're able to get incentive token and farm it, of course, all those steps. I'm not sure. I don't think it needs that to be I don't think it needs that to be a forever dump token. I don't think it'll be a forever dump token anyways. K4K has a great video on incentive token and inflation and stuff. I don't think any Richard Hart coin is going to be a dump forever token. Like it's just not his brand. He just doesn't make it. So I'm sure there's mechanics, some of which we know about, some of which maybe we don't know about, but that will make it into not a loser token. I wouldn't expect it to be a loser token. I think and people might build on it too. I think that's something. What if the Maximus guys are like, we're building staking for incentive token, just pure speculation, just throwing it out there. What if Alex from Hedron's like, I like incentive token. I want to make sure it's valuable. What if the people who see an opportunity for an undervalued coin, who have dev skills or can hire them, what if they want to build on it? People tend to do what's in the best interest, for their money in that way, which can lead to building some pretty cool stuff. Franklin, minimum pricing is what was the pricing for this minimum ADS? I don't have exact numbers, but I'm going to go with, I think a safe bet is around $400 a month. I would say 300, 400, 500, somewhere through there. I don't have exact numbers yet. I need more time to get like monthly bills and like keep them consistently running. But I would say it's in that ballpark, Franklin.